Hello everybody and welcome back after our short break. We are here for our second series of the night, now last series for DotaPit for the evening. Team Spirit will be going up against now the undefeated team London Conspiracy. Let's actually show it up in our grid nice and quickly. There they are, London Conspiracy as well as Team Spirit. They look like they're neck and neck after having 2 games apiece. The difference, however, with the score is 5 full points. Team Spirit only able to claim 1 draw and 1 full loss. So London Conspiracy, if they can take this 2-0, anything's possible after their victory over Na'Vi, then maybe they could actually be neck and neck with Na'Vi and be 1 game less played than them. What an interesting situation we've now found ourselves in. I say ourselves because it's not just me tonight. I am joined by Modpack, so welcome, man, for our second series.
Hello, hello. Very excited to keep this one up and going.
Hello.
Love Conspiracy, man. They looked so good. Unbelievable. I love the way they counterplayed the Batrider. I think was the most impressive thing for me during that series. At least it felt like General just couldn't get anything done, despite... like he had a pretty good draft on his side set up for the Batrider, but up against the Vengeful Spirit, it almost felt like Na'Vi threw him to the wolves a bit, but I don't know. They played pretty well.
I was sitting here thinking about that whole last series. I'm just there going, hey, when you think about it, who made the most mistakes? And London Conspiracy was pretty down there. Like, they didn't have many at all. There's a couple of options where you might say, hey, maybe this could have been a better choice to have, and so on and so forth, but they seem to be a real consistent team, which is something you don't normally say of a team, which we do have to be honest, like they are a tier 2 team.
Yeah.
But they're just really consistent in their play.
Yeah, it's true. Like, they didn't overextend all that much. They had a couple plays that maybe you were thinking, like, with the omniscient vision that we have, it's like, oh, they shouldn't have went back in there. But judging by, what they actually performed and from the vision they had, it did seem like normal and pretty standard and well-controlled plays, as you mentioned. And this time they're actually going to get the Lone Druid, which was banned out first phase both times last game.
Yeah, but in return, welcome to Chen, welcome to OD.
Yeah, they love that OD.
It is the God Black safety net, and it's the OD. Everyone loves OD. This hero is just too easy to play these days. It's
their most picked hero in the last 2 weeks, and they've done it. They mostly give to Iceberg almost every time, but they've actually done a couple unusual things. They've done things like they've gone aggro try with Ramsey still playing a core. He played, I think it was a Sven during that game, and they actually hit solo safe lane OD on Afterlife. So they love the hero. They will take it early because they will throw it anywhere, just as long as they get to have it in their draft.
It works any way you want to put it, man. Like, how does OD ever fail?
As long as you've got the control, he's just there to throw out the damage, man. That's what he's here for. Yeah, he'll lift up a couple people, but in the end, he just wants to throw down those right clicks, and Godblack will be able to help provide that with that Chen. And man, it's their 2 favorite heroes, though. It is the Lone Druid and the Gyrocopter for the London Conspiracy, which is 2 we didn't get, and yet 2 of their most picked.
It's kind of funny, too, when you look at Team Spirit, because Ramsey's, I cast 2 games of Team Spirit recently, and in both games, he was on the Gyrocopter. So it's sought after hero for both sides.
5 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. And with them having the first pick into the next phase, you can't even leave it as an option as LC. So nice of them to snag it up now, even though it does mean they commit 2 early core positions. It does seem like it's worth it considering how much both of these teams do value the Gyrocopter. And up against the Chen, you especially want them.
Yeah. Where's our Witch Doctor VS?
That's true.
That's the play, right? Like, they were the two supports. They even they 1-2 picked them in their previous game. I don't know if it's the synergy they're looking for with the Lone Druid, but more stuns is never a bad thing, especially up against the Chen. They should take out the Zeus now, so Zeus wasn't really that Zeus versus OD is always a question mark for me.
I guess he can keep enough of a distance in the mid lane to at least still get a lot of CS, and he's not a counter, I guess, like to the OD in that sense of the Viper or the Razor, but he should do okay. And I'm a little worried about possibly a Faceless Void ban here from London Conspiracy because, yeah, Team Spirit, if they did end up picking it, you would have an option to immediately fire back with something like the Vengeful Spirit or the Oracle's banned out, but something along those kind of lines here. But I would still be a little worried going up against OD Faceless Void myself.
I want them just to get to the next phase of picking. If everything else might give us a little bit more insight, but it's nothing really. Okay, so you take out a Bat Rider, take out Death Prophet. Can't believe we forgot about her. And Team Spirit directly into this Ven. Well, you can feel the pressure being applied, but it's a lone druid and a gyrocopter.
I wonder how. What are you going to do up against a lone druid? Luckily, you already have the Chen, first off, which is great. One of the best reasons to pick up the Chen versus lone druid is that lone druid is essentially impossible to gank especially if he's in a safe lane, like solo safe lane lone druid, with the bear, with the savage roar, you just can't get him. But Chen allows you to dive those towers, really get in there. Now they're going to answer back immediately with the Witch Doctor too, so this is great. Not only does it help counter up against the Chen, the potential for the Faceless Void, even though it is still there, you do have a little bit more to work with here in between just the Death Ward still having that nice long range to counter the Void, as well as the cast can still be pretty handy inside the Chronosphere too.
Yeah, it also punishes that dive you're talking about. So if Gold Black likes to do what he loves to do this, he just runs in behind the tier 1 tower, and then you have Sven and now Rubik run themselves forward to get to pick up an extra control. The paralyzing cast here, isolated from your own creep wave, cast does even more work than. This is... I'm liking the London Conspiracies just with the start of their draft. Team Spirit definitely have a lot to work with. But I'm wondering just how they want to do this. Is this going to be a safe lane now? A safe lane Sven to support Rubik? A rotating Chen or just a farming up Chen? They smoke earlier, they try and gank up on the mid lane. You still don't even know what the mid lane is, yet you pick up your support hero to gank him.
5 seconds remaining.
Either that or Team Spirit is considering some level of aggression, where you run a Rubik and a Sven on the off lane with the Gobblik Chen support.
Yeah, and a little bit of aggro. That wouldn't be the worst play either, just because of how much control Chen obviously will give you, same as the Enchantress moving into that opponent's jungle. Well, to help quell that, now not only do they have the cask, not only do they have Flat Cannon and Call Down, they're even going back for that Splinter Blast on the Winter Wyvern. So yeah, the hero got gutted on that Winter's Curse, but Winter Wyvern wasn't picked all the time for the curse. Yeah, it was amazing, but it was that harass in the mid lane, and it was the early kill potential as well, using the Arctic Burn, as well as that Splinter Blast, and then, of course, all the sustain you get from Cold Embrace. So there's a ton of synergy working out here in between the AoE, in between the sustain of the London Conspiracy draft. All they're really lacking is maybe some sort of an afterplay control that comes out after the Winter's Curse. When you can finally start dealing the damage, can you get something more than just Call Down and Death Ward? Can you get something to hold them there? And the Nyx Assassin's a great band for that too. Being able to line up for a really nice impale could have been what they might have needed there, and obviously a great counter to the OD.
Say goodbye to the Tidehunter. Probably one of the very few heroes which London Conspiracy could not zone out of the off lane.
Yeah.
So Team Spirit will need to try and find something else to do that.
Up against the Lone Druid, I wouldn't mind a Slardar, honestly. It's not the most meta hero these days, but the Minus Armor is really important.
When you've already got a Sven as well?
It's just, the Minus Armor is so good against the Bear, and it would give him an option, he can rotate relatively early with the sprint. He doesn't have to be level 6 to actually contribute to the kills, and it would provide them with a little bit of chasing potential and vision, but...
I'm wondering if you can get away with a Nature's Prophet, because he's still in the pool as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get away with running those dual lanes, like Rubik's Ven off lane and then Nature's Prophet up on the top. You assume right now it's a lone druid off. That's disgusting.
I was actually going to suggest it first before I even said the Slardar, and the reason why was because it is survival and it can live, but my problem with, and why I didn't bring it up, is because I don't feel like it offers much up against the Bear. I guess if you have a couple points in the Curse, it can help to bring him down, but... overall, I feel like they're lacking a lot of control in the massive AoE. That Tidehunter ban to me was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
10 seconds.
I agree with you. It's where is this control from Team Spirit? Even Rubik's control is kind of negligible when you think about what London Conspiracy can do instead. I'm also worried that Team Spirit's lineup is just going to get just stuck. You gotta run through Call Down, you gotta run through Entangles, you gotta run through Paralyzing Cask. Rubik might be hoping to steal a Death Ward, but it should never happen because you can toggle Voodoo Restoration, so Rubik should never be able to take your Death Ward. And then Winter Wyvern has Curse. And welcome to Burst Damage. So now you get a Lena for the mid. She's actually one of the few heroes I've seen play up against an OD and successfully win the lane. But
Yeah.
it comes with on the back of rotation, so an early smoke from Witch Doctor and Wyvern is what I'm going to search for. And then Baby Knight, all he's got to do is hit one Light Strike Array on an OD.
And imagine it after the Winter's Curse as well. Like, there's so many potentials for massive wombo combos here from London Conspiracy. They definitely have this whole like execute. It's not even like a difficult execution where some teams you're like, well, it's not gonna be that easy to pull off. But I mean, Winter's Curse has a massive range, and it just gives you basically sets it up right up on the T-ball there for your LSA, your Dragon Slave, as well as the Call Down, and then Death Ward whenever you feel like it.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm actually liking London Conspiracy to take another game right now. Just looking at this draft. So
Well, what's going to decide it is probably going to be Goblack and how they deal with him.
True, very very true. Like, what does the impact this Chen bring?
Because if he does allow those major early ganks, bring down the Lone Druid early on, they're going to be able to try and get a little bit of a snowball coming from Team Spirit, like moving into these towers. If there's not all the points, we kind of saw this with that the draft earlier today with it was London Conspiracy as well, where they didn't have the Death Ward ready, they didn't have the swap ready, and although they don't have all the same push that Na'Vi had that game on the side of Team Spirit this time, the same objectives are still out there in terms of tier 1s and tier 2s they might be able to push into before this whole wombo combo actually comes online.
Biver has already won the early vision game. Just throwing it down right now. You have an Observer Ward which is going to watch for Goblack's movement. It's currently seeing both the position of Iceberg as well as Goblack. And he got down this other Observer Ward, which instantly allowed him to know where Team Spirit planted their Observer Ward. So they'll see all the movement of Team Spirit. They'll understand when the Chen comes out of the jungle as well, because their warding is that deep. They'll understand when he does smoke up, or should at least have some level of indication of what's going on.
They have heavily committed here for the top lane vision, though, so it's understandable when you have a tri-lane and you're trying to protect this Lone Druid up against the Chen, so...
See, I'm not even sure it's for the Lone Druid. Like, this just does feel like information for the mid, to keep the Lina safe. Because the vision, like, where the wards are currently positioned, it just reveals, like, okay, this is not going to work. That bear is way too late to get there. Yeah, it just reveals the movement out of the jungle of Team Spirit, or what's happening inside the jungle.
Yeah, no, it's true. Because Baby Knight, obviously being on the Lina, she's no puck or anything like that. You don't have those survivable, any sort of mechanisms towards actually keeping yourself alive, so... giving him all this vision in the mid lane, and just relying on the fact that you're not going to be seeing the Chen that much. There's not really much to pair up with the Nevadan anyway, so moving down to the bottom might not actually have that big impact that you're generally looking for when the Chen rolls on into, like we saw last game, where they were coming up with like a Slark Pounce and etc. So hopefully it's going to provide Baby Knight a good enough time, but I wonder how much they're going to be trading away in terms of this top lane, like... I don't know what Kefka's going to be able to do out here. We'll see. We'll see. Worst comes to worst, he just Iron Talons, so, you know, then he is going to be that one key element that's going to be farming a lot for their draft.
Yeah. And Kefka gets a little bit of extra luck, as this had a blast into Always Wanna Fly. And Kefka, because they saw that early Observer Ward, he's able to just, like, because he unblocked that camp.
Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah, with the pullovers, he's got a lot better chance of throttling that wave and still getting a lot of experience. The better keep the support hero out, you just go from there. Bottom lane, Afterlife, he's going to shield himself up, trying to run himself out. The damage isn't going to be enough to kill him. Yep, yeah, it's not enough damage to kill him. I was fairly confident with my call on that. So he has to salve up. But this Abaddon is kind of out of consumables. Like, there's no mana left for him. He's only got that one Tango charge. So life is very difficult for him, while Jalopy is just getting a lot of CS on that bottom lane as the Gyrocopter. It's basically uncontested farm. Yes, Ramses is definitely keeping up with him, but it's the fact you have a half-level Abaddon off lane.
Yeah, and that's going to change heavily once Kefka moves into like level 3, 4, and especially 5, right? Like, then he can actually help contest Ramses, whereas Afterlife, he's on this going into the Iron Talon for the Abaddon. His life is much more difficult. We've seen a couple of these Iron Talon Abaddons lately. It's very similar to the Night Stalker idea, where you just try and get level 4 really quickly if you're totally zoned out of your lane. But right now, he's in an extremely rough spot. He's almost going to die to neutrals, but he can't because he doesn't have enough... Like, he can't lose that unreliable gold.
That pressure on mid. Baby Knight, he's going to get picked up. He's got no mana to work with. He's got a salve on Fairy Fire, but he only burns the Fairy Fire, and he ends up going down anyway. Always want to fly and pick himself up a regeneration room, which gave him his Fey Bolt as well as telekinesis again. So a really good movement from Team Spirit, and they'll get the first blood and advantage in the mid. A lot of that was also prepared by Iceberg's harassment.
It's surprising how often Rubik is often cited as one of the supports that doesn't offer too much early, but early on he actually had a pretty big play up against the Lone Druid. He is considered one of the few supports that can actually do something against the bear in terms of like how much repositioning you can offer for the lift and the throwback. And again, they're coming into that mid lane on Baby Knight. They will have the Witch Doctor Soul in here though.
Yeah, but it's the smoke movement. It's always on a fly being revealed, but the casket doesn't bounce, which means Baby Knight's dead. The Gold Black Chen army is going to be in a perfect position, always on a fly, almost dying there as well. But really, he had the space, the support was there.
That was great positioning from Goblak.
Just being back far enough. I think it was a little bit early as well from Solon, though. That paralyzing cask throw, like you burned one hero smoke. You really are assuming anyway around the 3 to 4 minute mark that it should be the Chen gank as well, because he hadn't ganked yet.
Yeah, it's true. Especially, I mean, they were smoked up, and maybe he was suspecting it was just gonna be the Rubik again that Goblak's up and farming, but they should probably know it's probably coming. And without that vision though, like just because he wasn't revealed in time, I can understand the immediate cask trying to save Baby Knight as he comes out of the Astral, but again, it is just superior play from Goblak. He loves this hero, and next target will probably be the Lone Druid. If they can try, before he hits 5, but he should have it soon.
He's got it now. So the bear becomes a little bit stronger, if he can crack level 6 as well. Save that point in case the gank does come. Quick rotation TPs, we should probably keep our eyes very closely on Solon as well as over on Biver. And they both are carrying TPs. So even if they do dive, I'm a little concerned that Team Spirit will just get, like, taken out.
Well, they're getting a couple levels up here on the Winter Wyvern too, which is very helpful. Like, even if it's just the 1-1-1 build, coming in with Arctic Burn plus Splinter Blast plus Cold Embrace is a great combo for rotating support. It offers a lot more than many other heroes are able to offer this early on. And a nice ward too. And they want to keep an eye on what he's going to be able to get for the Lone Druid here. Looks like Solon saw him leave, though.
Yeah, they got their own Observer wards down. There's still that one which, well, always on a fly is going to walk directly into the bear. Still hoping for an entangle or some kind of pullback. You do still have that Savage Roar up. As, there you go, finally the entangle. And, well, Godstrength committed as well. Always on a fly. He's almost dead. The Orb of Venom will not tick him out, so he'll end up surviving through this as Ramses goes for the stun. Kefka. Still not having that entangle arriving from the bear, but the paralyzing cask and the Splinter Blast always going to fly. He's just out of range of it. He'll give the extra help with that Fade Bolt, and with a cleave damage, Kefka almost died there too. But there's just too much support arriving from LC. So they're able to get the kill over on this vent, but Baby Knight may not be so lucky. There's no, actually there is the 1 point up in Curse of Avernus. So Baby Knight's getting body blocked up a little bit more, allowing Iceberg to walk in. With that Mistline Strike array, Baby Knight's now got no space to work with. So a very quick rebuttal kill coming out from Team Spirit.
We're going to have ourselves some action all over the map here, but Kefka, he played that pretty well up top, and I don't know if it was kind of interesting. He kind of went for the safe play there on Ramses when he threw the stun out on the bear instead of the Lone Druid, because he didn't want to get entangled and then not be able to make his way, but it felt like had they actually gotten the setup there, they might be able to kill him in time, only because he was still relatively squishy here.
They're going to kill him now.
Again, it looks like if they don't get rooted.
Throw him back. Okay, that took a little bit longer to go for the stun. Thought Ramsey was actually going to do that straight away.
He got Savage Roared.
That's what it was.
What a hero.
Forget about that ability sometimes.
Yeah, I recently played a game as Lone Druid, and I completely forgot to even get added. And I think I did it like twice the entire game. It was pretty bad. It just seems like such a random. It just came out of nowhere, and it's so powerful. But Ramsey's no fear this time.
He's in way too deep. Paralyzing Casto too far away with the Warcry. They got the movement speed.
Oh,
that's a big TP as well, because yeah, you brought in a Gyrocopter for this. First rocket's going to connect, but now Rubik picking up the Gyrocopter, throwing away the Hand of God, giving Ramsey a little bit more life, but it's still not enough to survive. So a big heal being blown there by Goldblack, and they are still unable to save that Sven. Now 0 for 2 on your safe laner.
And Goblak's up here. They'll have the stun. Cat's gonna be bouncing around doing his thing here. But with Jellyfish still nearby, I don't know if they really want to engage into this. Just always want to flank Goblak up here.
Maybe not. Well, at least he's able to bottle up the rune. Straight TP back to base, though. Not wasting any time.
With the current, like the farm they actually do have over on the Team Spirit, they definitely are leading here. Almost looks like about 1,700 in terms of the overall net worth, and with Afterlife starting to come back online, considering the awful positioning he had, it's pretty impressive that he's up there that high. He's actually above Baby Knight in terms of the overall net worth, thanks to all the pressure they've actually applied on top of him. And he's got the phase boots up, and if he starts moving into this Vlad's, the Vlad's up on top of the Chen, up on top of the Sven. I don't even know if he might even have to go for a Helm the Dominator early if he wants to get something a little bit more aggressive and start fighting into these towers with the backup. He's going to have Hand of God, Mech, as well as Vlad's.
Yeah, there's a nice sweet spot. Yeah, you're right. It's where Team Spirit are just able. They could just mass group up, and I'm wondering if LC have got the defense capable. Ah, no, they do. They definitely do.
Assuming Solon will have his level 6 as well as it's a lot of it's on Biva too. Again, trying to get himself into that Winter's Curse could be the big play as well. Just setting up the call down, allowing you to start stacking up some of these roots and get ready to go.
I'm kind of looking more to Baby Knight because he's way too far behind. He's 0 for 3 with 35 CS. He's 2.3k, 2.4k net worth compared to the 4k net worth of Iceberg, who's from the same lane. And Iceberg hasn't even got kills. He's got 3 assists, sure. But there's no kills to his name. That's when I wonder, like how long does it take for Lena to get into the Arcane Boots, to get potentially Ether Lens, to get the Yule Scepter, to build into the Aghanim Scepter. All of these things cost a large portion of money. And you don't even have like the big levels. So you went the 4 points up in the Dragon Slave with just the 1 point up in stun. You don't have that power of Fiery Soul, or the presence, I should say, of Fiery Soul in the lane.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be reliant on a big Laguna Blade into the first big team fight if we actually get one onto somebody for most of the gold for Baby Knight.
Splinter Blast won't fly up to Afterlife. Looked like an attempted movement, but Afterlife just felt it coming. He doesn't see it coming. There's no Observer Wards for the dire side down here. Just realized something was up.
Well, Ramses is going to go into the Helm Dominator, which actually just makes more sense anyway. Just keep your stacks going, like, while you're applying all this pressure. Oh, you've even got the early stacks. Goblak, what a player. Look at this. Sends his own creep. He's been stacking this up. Don't even need the Helm Dominator. What a great guy. So friendly. And we'll see if...
So experienced. Like, he knows all about it.
He's done this before, has he? This Chen thing?
Yeah, maybe. Possibly signature hero.
Well, Kefka, he, along with, as you mentioned, the fact that they need to catch up with Baby Knight, the question is, what are you going to get on this lone Druid? Like, moving into the most common thing is Midas into Radiance, but he's already 11 minutes in, not quite able to get up the Midas. It looks like he'll still go back for it. Oh, actually, it is up. Okay, yeah, so he did purchase it and bring it on over, so should be A-okay.
Yeah, Radiance is kind of like the build for him in this game. Because there's little that's going to be dealing with the split push. He's going to have the problem, though, that his bear can get easily sniped. And maybe that would be something which will push him away from the Radiance. Because this Ven's just... Like, if he gets a Blink Dagger and the bear's doing a split push, the Ven just blinks in, stuns him, and then takes out the bear. Then you can basically say goodbye to your split push at that point. So you may consider something a little bit more aggressive. I don't know if you actually want to go like the Basher or Mjolnir build. Sorry, Maelstrom build on the Spirit Bear.
Yeah, it actually wouldn't be that bad, especially up against the Chen too. But I guess it's just the fact that Radiance just seems so dominant right now, and the amount of farming potential it gives you in like a safety area where you don't even have to be there. Perhaps that's the thing that just can't be underestimated here. And our first big stack, can they contest this here is the question. Doesn't look like the... Oh, what a great time to have an Invis rune though. And you can now leech this experience. This is huge for Baby Knight.
Well, only if they could take it. Like, you can't leech off the Ancients. They'll need to actually get in there and take the kills.
No, you can leech them now. It got changed.
Really? When did that patch come through?
This patch. It did change that. So, like, if he actually was there, he could leech the EXP now. It is shared. Just like a normal neutral camp. But the Sentry Ward and the D-warding, so they won't be able to get it.
Need to look back over my patch notes.
It's one of those ones they throw in like the side and you're just like, oh really? especially because it kind of comes out of left field, but maybe it's just because of all that attention that we were seeing on like TA and the fact that like her ancient stacks pretty much brought her back in, Sven's ancient stacks brought him back in. Maybe an understandable balance change.
Godblack could get pincered in a moment. That Observer was flying in the mech recipe, so Godblack's got the whole thing done. They've already lost their tier 1 tower on top. Baby Knight actually getting... Wait, no, he's not going to get soloed. Actually, yes, he will. Always on a fly. That was beautiful. First he stole the Slave, threw off all of his abilities, then he stole the Light Strike Array, and was able to solo kill off Alina as a Rubik. Ha! Snap, bro.
Rubik is one of those heroes that we've just seen... Some teams love it, and they'll pick it up nice and early. Like, you'll see Cookies is one of those teams right now that love it for their player Pablo. And Always Want to Fly, he's also always been just one of those guys you can always just bring this hero up. He's been a mainstay in competitive since forever. It's kind of similar to... It's almost like Invoker in that same kind of clout of the hero you think of in professional Dota, but Rubik has just never gone away. And it's because of the plays like that, because up against certain heroes, up against like the Gyrocopter as well as the Lina this game, he's going to have himself a really good time if he can, again, keep stealing this LSA or move into the Laguna Blade. I assume he won't get a Death Ward, but you never know. If you're quick enough before they do toggle on the Voodoo, maybe you can snag it up.
You have to be pretty damn quick for that, though.
It's true. You have to be like, it has to be just completely immediate.
Yep. You basically require an Aghanim Scepter or a Blink Dagger or both in order to do that. But if you have the Aghanim Scepter and you steal the Death Ward, hell yes. That's the dream right there.
And they have... So now they have the Atos, they have the Helm, they have the... Is it done? Yeah, they do have the mech done too. Vlad's is being worked on here for Afterlife. It feels like it's finally time to start going after these tier 1s.
With the Blink Dagger as well being picked up by Ramses. He's got,
oh, I like this.
There it is. Yeah, they've hit the sweet spot. It's a 15-minute sweet spot. They start over on Roshan. Now, Ramses hasn't used God's Strength just yet, and they're coming in complete force. The Radiant side have no idea about this at all. The line's being drawn by the Witch Doctor, sending him down the mid. This is a very quick and efficient Roshan, and without having to use God's Strength as well.
Yeah, I really like that. The fact that they're not using that is actually huge. You're still going to have this creep here stacking up the Ancient stack, so not only can you save the God's Strength going into a tower, it looks like they'll probably have to use it for a fight, but if you don't, you have it to fall right back onto the stacks, too. Oh, the Atos.
Yep, slowing down the Gyro. They pick him up and throw him down. Is he going to get the call down off? Or with the Cold Embrace, they're going to be able to. The Death Ward from the Witch Doctor. The damage just isn't anywhere near enough. Not when you've got your Eclipse coming out from the OD. Oh, that hit hard. Baby Knight's down for the count. Team Spirit have just wiped London Conspiracy in the mid lane.
Oh, Iceberg was just sitting there. And I was just thinking, oh, when he comes off this stun, this is going to be so much damage. I wasn't expecting that much damage. He essentially almost soloed the Witch Doctor. And it's just a free tower. And a free fight. Oh, that is unbelievable how much int he has currently stacked up here. He had 15 stolen when he threw that out, and he still has 15 sitting on him right now.
I found it hilarious just how ineffective the Death Ward was.
Oh, yeah. Just tickling.
When everyone gets affected by Team Spirit by the War Cry, which is level 4, and it's like, okay, now we'll use Death Ward. Wait, it's physical damage. Screwed. The push is coming now on the top lane. So it won't just be one tower, it'll be 2 towers.
Radiant's top tower is under
Like,
attack.
LC could potentially try and defend this, but Laguna's still on cooldown for the moment. Death Ward was still on cooldown, and their players weren't in position. The tower was too low. They weren't going to get there in time. And it's like they're trying to clean off the Ancient stack right now before anything more happens. With the Cold Embrace, the Lone Druid protected. It's not stopping Iceberg from getting this kill. He's far enough away as well from the Cold Embrace that Always Want to Fly. Like, the OD wasn't dragged back over. Another Rod of Atos. Witch Doctor, 3 hits coming out from that OD. He's still got the Aegis, the Immortal up his sleeve. Hence, he wasn't really caring if LC would attack him and kill him or not. But again, Team Spirit lose nothing, and that Ancient stack's already been worked down. If Team Spirit realized this, that Sven's going to get like enough money for his, not his full BKB, but pretty bloody close.
Yeah, they're almost certainly going to back out that direction. They should spot it out. They're going to know that's what they're up there doing. A couple of them even walked down, I believe, going to that engagement. So, thankfully, the God Strike wasn't popped by Ramsey, so he didn't murder Always Want to Fly. But if they end up being rebuffed here, that Ancient stack is such a huge bounty for them to take. Oh, look at Baby Knight!
Wow, that hurts. That hurts like hell. That's 40 stolen, 45 in stolen intelligence just sitting on Iceberg. They're just going for the GG push. It's a double kill for Iceberg.
God.
One more attack, the Rod of Atos. He can't get close enough, however. Like, he just
He's
bought a blink
45
dagger, but
in.
oh man, we're 18 minutes. Like, in all 3 of our games tonight in DotaPit, there's been a push pre-20 minutes into the high ground. This has been by far the most successful one. And they're waiting to initiate. They just want someone from LC to come out a little bit too far. There's still 40 stolen intelligence sitting on Iceberg, and his Eclipse just came back off cooldown. So he moves forward, starts with a Rod of Atos, into that lone droid. The Death Ward's go! Go! You can see it! You can see it coming from a mile away, yet still! GG! GG!
I mean, that's over.
Oh my! Well... Oh, I knew it was going to be painful. I didn't think it was going to be that painful.
There were a couple, like, man, that cold embrace just... There were a couple times people got cold embraced, and Iceberg's there, thank you. And he stole so much int, and then he just destroyed them. 2 kills was all they were able to muster. Like, they ran right through them. Team Spirit showing, they put a stop to that whole undefeated thing here for LC.
That they did. That they did. And that also, again, like, it makes our grid a lot more complex now. Because with this, Team Spirit, they get a guaranteed 1 point from this game. But they need a lot more to try and get back up into that #1 position. And London Conspiracy, now they don't have the Dream Room. They don't have the way where they can draw themselves up with Na'Vi straight out. And that means #1 position still very much up for a contest. Stay tuned. We'll be back after the break for game #2 in our last game of the night. London Conspiracy going up against Team Spirit.